All right, so this is for like my ADHD audiences for sure, because the universe wants me to speak, right? Okay, the cosmos, whatever your higher power is. Jesus, I gotta. All right, ADHD moment right here. Okay, so go away for now. Okay, pretend this is the Mona Lisa. So I saw a video once, and something just clicked with me. Okay, so Mona Lisa, right? So there was this kind of esoteric dude. It was a short video, so and I don't know how accurate this is, but I believe in it. So, anyways, Mona Lisa, right? And this is the background. This is Vienna. I don't know, some sort of forest or whatever, some river. Anyways, so he did some sort of examination, or maybe some researchers at a museum did. But anyways, there was some sort of lens that they used to look. So this Mona Lisa, she's kind of a modern day Mona Lisa. Anyways, so Marilyn is our Mona Lisa, and they did a close up examination, and there was like this weird kind of there was this weird kind of like dust or something. It was like a black kind of smoke or something, and he examined it. He said, "What is that? Why would Da Vinci just randomly paint this this gray kind of smoke or whatever?" And he examined also. They're like a dualist. They're the Vitruvian Man, right? So this is our Vitruvian Man. Venom is our Vitruvian Man, and he examined this dude, esoteric dude, and he examined. I'll try and link the video. He examined the Vitruvian Man as well, and he said, "Well, what is that?" There was also another hidden little detail as well, similar to the black smoke I described, and it was actually more apparent. It looked like some sort of chain that was broken off, like some sort of chain that just snapped or something, and in the background, but you can't really see it if you, you know. And so he was like, well, what if they're connected? What if Mona Lisa, what if Marilyn Monroe is connected to Venom? What if they're connected? So they both have this weird. There's like this little. I guess you can call it an aura or like some sort of psychic chain or link combining them. Um, Almost like they were like lovers or something. Um, Conspiracy theory, right? Um, so why was this chain, this very almost imaginary, but it was still painted on. It was still apparent that this guy was looking at. And why was this chain still? What was that? What was the black smoke? What was the? And he said, well, no, there's a chain. There's a chain tying both of them together. Uh, I guess this is what people talk about when they talk about like karmic destinies and stuff. Um, I guess the only way I can describe it is through the example of there's a lot of bad pop songs out there, a lot of great pop songs out there about love, but a lot of bad love pop songs. And when I say bad love pop songs, it's more one of those I can heal you or you can heal me. We can lift each other up. Nothing wrong with that. Nothing wrong with people lifting each other up. That's what we all need more than ever. But um bear with me. Un momento. But sometimes, and I think it's because I kind of believe in reincarnation, at least in the sense that we're infinite beings and we've lived infinite lives, and we've come back with our soul tribe and people who they teach us things about it. We're teachers and students to different kinds of souls, and I think something that is the hardest thing in this world. I would say the hardest thing in the world is believing in yourself, but we're taught at a young age that everything is kind of outside of ourselves. Um, and there's nothing more perfect than seeing someone who you're your soul languages just speak to each other, whatever, right? There's a connection, and it's so fucking strong, and it's so heavy even when they're not there. Even if they died, you know? Um, but sometimes that can be, these two, Marilyn and Venom, they can, after so many lives together, there's an imbalance, and that chain needs to be broken. But it's like, how do we break the chain of our own oppression that we use to channel all the love into it? I guess what I'm trying to say is we need to find our own path. I think that we forget that. And even if we're separated in this lifetime, from physical distance or whatever, or maybe the someone who, and I'm talking about someone who is could either be a soulmate or a karmic contract or whatever. And I think the way you distinguish between soulmate, karmic contract, and like someone who truly is, they're for you, or even a friend, best friend, aunt, dad, mom, sister, whatever, it's not just romantic, right? But usually it is these romantic scenarios in which we forget how to follow our path. And I guess the only thing I'm going to say after this is sometimes when we spend so much time after so many lifetimes together too, right? Because the more stronger the connection, probably the more lifetimes you guys lived with each other. I mean, it doesn't even have to be a reincarnation theory thing. I mean, who knows what exists beyond life and death, So, but I guess I do subscribe to, it's kind of hard to not say it's not reincarnation. But when we spend so much time with a specific person and it's just over and over, even in one lifetime, call it, even if you don't believe in it, subscribe to reincarnation. If you spend so much time, even if you're separated, even if they live in all the way in Australia and you're hitting the good old US of A, their energy's still with you, and it's usually you're carrying it unconsciously. And it's almost like their frequency scrambles with yours. Like, you don't even realize it. You can both become each other. Like, there's a term in the tarot community called destiny swap. Again, I mean, if you're familiar with, this stuff interests you, I would also recommend Neville Goddard's The Pearl of Great Price. It kind of, in a way, it kind of relates, actually. But I think the issue, when this is toxic, whether it be a soulmate or a karmic or whatever, is when you let their influence control who you are. Even on a very deep level, but your thoughts should be your own. If you're Marilyn Monroe, you should be thinking, who's Marilyn Monroe? What's her gifts? She shouldn't be thinking about Venom 24/7, right? And what would Venom think of this? What would Venom think of, would Venom support this? What if Venom knew about, this certain dream I had? Would they support it? Like, no, like Marilyn should be thinking not about, JFK or for a real life parallel. But, so Marilyn shouldn't, Mona Lisa, whatever. Marilyn shouldn't be thinking about what Venom thinks about her. Like Shakespeare said, know thyself. The only person who can know Marilyn is Marilyn Monroe. I think that's just such a wonderful thing. So the only voice you should be listening to, at least from my perspective, is kind of you, but it's at that base level. It's you as like kind of your inner child. It's everything preformed, like before all the programming. Maybe you've been brainwashed too. That's an album that I'd recommend. Greg Alexander was a smart dude. I'm just gonna go get the album. Okay, so yeah, this is it. He's a smart dude. I don't even know why I was bringing that up, but the point is, and the same thing goes for Venom, right? You know, but Marilyn should be thinking about what's best for Marilyn, not about Venom or about Venom's friends or Venom's parents or the people she met after Venom. You know, it should all be a very narrow pathway. I call that's the flow state, and I think it's like a river. It should all be one, and I think that's why they use the third eye, because it's just one direct pathway, one direct pathway into. It's almost like this string, almost. Not talking, not really talking about string theory. You'd have to talk to my cousin about that. But it should only be the way you see the world, not the connection, the psychic, link that is connecting you to their energy or whatever. And then, you're connected to their thoughts, because again, you don't want to scramble each other's identities. You need to have your own identity, which also means you need to love yourself, which also means sometimes you genuinely need not brutally or whatever to cut anyone out. Tom Ford talks about how we live in a throwaway culture. It's important to let people grow, right? But it's also important to set up boundaries. Marilyn Monroe should be thinking, what makes me happy? What makes me passionate? Like it, and I think we have a problem in society if it's all about, all about me, right? That's a bad thing. That's egotistical, and it can be. But, I mean, if God loves us so much, or higher power, whatever your higher power is, but if the force of the universe, I'm a big Star Wars fan, but if the force of the universe, if it loves us and believes in us so much, why would it not want us to believe in our own infinite potential on site every day? And if you can find that link, not that, if you can break the chain and not have the chain lead directly back to anyone else, and I'm using these two examples because, you know why. If God believes in our potential so much on an infinite level, why would he want us to think about, why would he want us to have anyone else's thoughts inside our head? You know what I mean? Something's telling me not to end the video here. I got one more point. Gotta have it beamed in. Just know that even the most outwardly, the people who seem to have their shit together, who like you're listening to inside your head, who, I think we all do it, right? The people who, or maybe we see them like, for example, I was at the DMV, and you see someone and you think, oh wow, they seem to have it more together than me, just on appearances, right? I should find a way to talk to them, right? And go up to them and ask them, because it's like we're going from this perspective of how can this person heal me? Like it connects. It's a chain. It's a, Fleetwood Mac, but it is a chain. I do believe that we have psychic chain all around us, and there's like a tarot card. I believe it's five of swords, whatever the fuck. And there's a bunch of swords, and it's usually a woman who she's trapped by all these swords and nets around her, and that's kind of what we do to ourselves, and that's where all these negative tendencies come from. So it's important to, as much as you can, sort of find a way to declutter the mind. I think that in any way spiritually, and I think artistic, creative work is, in my opinion, the start of that. It doesn't have to be some huge project. It can just be a new way of thinking. All right. Stay radical. be a new radical. Do not fall in that trap of letting other people's thoughts flow in and whoa. Oh, I'm not myself. I'm they're in the room with me essentially. Don't let yourself be have a puppet master control you. No matter how Marilyn might appreciate Venom because Venom can kick Spider-Man's ass or whatever, and she can't sometimes. But so what? Marilyn has her own gifts. Marilyn's a freaking movie star. What if she stayed Norma Jean?